Thank you for being with us as we weather the storms of life together. Our theme today is riding the waves of history. So we're going to begin the service with a song that reflects the deepest truth that we are all connected in one ocean. God is the ocean, we are the waves. 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 From the deep unknown we rise and cling to life. On and on we crash upon the shore, till we seek the answer to the mystery, and hear the song of truth within the soul. God is the ocean, we are the waves. 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 All we need and all we are is waiting there, just beneath the surface of the mind. Everything we hoped and dreamed that life could be are glimmers of the bliss we hold inside. God is the ocean, we are the waves.
Infinite essence, as waves on the sea.
God is the ocean,
pure reality.
we are the waves.
God is love,
is the
embracing
ocean,
presence. We contain
are
that
the
infinite
waves.
essence, as waves on the
God
sea.
is the
Pure
ocean,
reality.
we are the waves. We are the waves. We are the waves. Now we invite Reverend Inga to come forward and in that spirit of connectedness, oneness on this divine ocean, and lead us in our opening prayer.
So let us continue that journey inward to the altar of our hearts, to ride those waves, to gain a new perspective, an inward look, as we get in touch with those waves that carry us, that divine energy, always with us. When we were children, we believed in magnificent possibilities. Today we know that with God, all things are possible. If we have but faith in the divine power that dwells within, that power is our strength to to do all that is before us this day. Believe in yourself. Have faith in yourself. You can achieve your goals. You can make your lifelong dreams come true. You can give the help you want to give to another. You can be the blessing you want to be. You can do all these things and more because the divine energy is expressing in you, as you, and through you. Become as a child. Have faith. And from that strong foundation of faith springs a hope that carries possibilities, hope that is not doomed to fail, hope that will carry us forward. And for that hope, for that faith, we are truly grateful, and so it is. Amen. Well, good morning, Unity, and welcome, everyone. It's good to be up here. The rain last night felt so good, washed away a lot of the pollen. I'm sure some of you are sneezing like I am from all the pollen in the air. My pond had a film on it from all the pollen. And now that has washed away, and that feels and looks so nice. So, again, I want to remind you that our prayer ministry is alive and well and willing to serve you. This is the information. I will repeat it again at the end of the service. So feel free to avail yourself of prayer help and also of our prayer line. If you call the office, the menu will direct you to the prayer line. And with that, back to you, John and Donna.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you are well. This world is a crazy place right now, and I pray that you are all at peace within yourself. We have a couple of people that are in need of some special prayer and maybe sending some attention towards. We can hold them in our hearts in prayer, but we can also send messages of love and peace to them. One of them is June Hopkins. She is recovering at Good Sam after having an infection that created a fever, a high fever, and so she'll be there all week at Good Samaritan. June Hopkins, one of our longtime youth educators here, such a blessing to our community and all the young people that have now grown up even. And so please send her texts. Her number is 541-505-2947. Or you can send her cards via Unity of the Valley, and we'll make sure that she gets them. And John has another announcement about someone else in need.
Well, for some time, our volunteer coordinator, Ellen Tickner, has been dealing with some serious health issues, and so we just invite you to include her in your affirmative prayers, seeing her in the light and knowing that her divine energy is rising and infilling every cell of her body and allowing healing to unfold in divine order. And if there's anyone else that you wish to bring to mind, we know that many people here in our community may have physical or mental health issues, if not personally, then within their own family. And so we want to continue to remind everyone to take a moment to embrace within your prayers and meditation, embrace this spiritual family. Hold them in your heart of hearts, where the divine dwells. And then expand that. Let's expand that to embrace all people, I was asked to make a special prayer for our president and everyone who is involved in making decisions for our government, that we see them being instruments and allowing divine intelligence and compassion to flow through their actions, through their words, through their responsibilities, and to know that we are all connected. And whether we like it or not, we are connected in this ocean. And our great journey is to awaken to that responsibility that we share for each other at the deepest level, for we are one. And I'd like to invite you to move now into a time of meditation. And as you join us now, this is a time to get centered. And I know some of you are willing to close your eyes and go into a deeper space. And if you would like to see something on the screen, I have put up an image that I'm going to invite Ryan to pan over to. And this is the basis for today's meditation. You don't have to read along, but if you want to, if your mind is active, then you can read along with it. But this meditation is grounded in the 5 core principles of unity. And you can use this as part of a spiritual practice if you have been looking for something to really anchor yourself spiritually and a way to sort of get yourself into a deeper meditation. This one will move through each of the 5 steps, and it begins this way. Having become centered and breathing slowly and a few deeper breaths to relax and refresh the body, we open our hearts and minds now to these 5 universal truth principles, allowing them to fill our hearts and minds and bodies with this uplifting awareness of our true nature, our true essence. And the first principle that we meditate upon now is that the essence of reality, the very essence of this universe that we live in, is consciousness, the pure consciousness of spirit, all present, all powerful spirit. This is the underlying reality that we live in. Feel that ocean of spirit that you are existing in, that all of life, with all its commotion, is moving through. Its very being arising from spirit. Allowing that truth to move through the waves of our own thoughts at this time, calming those waves. And the next principle to contemplate is that the essence of every one of us is pure spirit, pure love, pure light. Oh, that light takes so many colors, so many forms in its journey across space and time. the whole rainbow of humanity is such a divine play of the light of the consciousness of spirit. But its true eternal essence is eternal. Love, light, joy, and peace. And we allow that truth now to fill our minds and our bodies and calm the waves of our mind. And the third principle we meditate upon now is that the essence of our life experience is the states of mind, the thoughts we hold within us, the beliefs, the patterns of behavior that we allow to be instilled and perhaps were instilled before we were conscious of making any choices about it. But we can know that our life experience is so flexible, it is so movable, for it is riding upon the waves of our own awareness. And that any moment, as we expand our awareness, our life experience will transform. So holding that awareness, that incredible power that we have to change the flow of our life by simply changing the flow of our thoughts. Resting in that wondrous knowledge. And we move on to the fourth principle and meditate upon the awareness that the essence of spiritual practice, that core foundation of practice taught through the ages, begins with simply being centered in our awareness, calm, quiet, not having to do anything but simply be aware of the infinite life within us and around us. And just practicing, allowing the waves to calm. And also, as part of this essence of spiritual practice, Unity teaches affirmative prayer. The knowing that our highest good is now unfolding. Instead of asking a God that's separate from us to make changes, we change our vision. We see the highest good as our now present reality. And we affirm that it is now so. And this itself transforms those waves of light, of creative energy, both within us and around us. What a wondrous power that dwells within us, and we meditate upon that now. And the fifth principle is to know that the essence of our spiritual practice also includes living these principles in all ways throughout our life, in our thoughts, our words, our deeds, our actions. We can become instruments of this truth, instruments of peace, instruments of the divine. Just rest in that awareness, seeing yourself, allowing all these principles to be manifest in your life. Instrument of your peace.
Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, let me sow pardon. Where there is doubt, let me sow faith. Where there's despair, let me sow hope. Where there is darkness, let me sow light. Where there is sadness, let me sow joy. Oh, divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, in dying that we are born to eternal life. Make me an instrument of your peace. Make me an instrument of your peace. Make me an instrument of your peace. Make me an instrument of your peace.
And with that, we move forward now to hear from Reverend Inga, reflecting on riding the waves of history, and then I will share some thoughts after her.
Yes, riding the waves of history. What would you say to an offer that is win, win, win? Guaranteed, costs you nothing. If you feel squeezed, it's because something wants to birth through you. And in these challenging times, I'm sure that most of you, perhaps all of us, are feeling squeezed in some way. No pressure, no diamond. No irritation, no pearl. No struggle, no butterfly. No endurance, no perfection. So today, let's look at some ways that we can bring order into our lives and the world through subtle changes. Changes that will bring big results, because right now things feel rather chaotic. And sometimes chaos is necessary in order for things to rearrange themselves so order can emerge. And when we allow divine energy to move through us, that's God's love and light, then we can feel a peace that passes all understanding. And from that peaceful center, we can live our lives more effectively, more efficiently, and do what is ours to do. Then we feel the comfort and the guidance that comes from tuning into spirit and from aligning with the universe. It's all about expressing that divine energy as love in our relationships, our work, in all areas of our lives. How do we do that? Well, I want to suggest 3 ways today, but I'm sure you can think of many more ways to do that. The first change would be perception. The second one would be a change in our goals. And the third, choosing joyful service. And that will help us return back to order. Because normal is not with us anymore, what we would consider normal. A friend, one of our congregants, gave me this poem by Sonia Renee Taylor, who is a poet, author, and social justice activist. She wrote this: "We will not go back to normal. Normal never was. Our pre-corona existence was not normal other than that we normalized greed, inequity, exhaustion, depletion, extraction. We should not long to return, my friends. We are being given the opportunity to stitch a new garment, one that fits all of humanity and nature. So as we ride the waves of change, as we move through this time of chaos, here's our opportunity." I like that phrase, to stitch a new garment. And we can all have a part in that. We can all be active in bringing about the change that we would like to see in the world. And that is a phrase often used by Gandhi: be the change you wish to see in the world. To me, Gandhi was such a marvelous example of a one-man drive to bring about change for his beloved country, India. And he did so in non-violent ways. The mouse that roared. Here's one man who made such a difference. So when we look at our nation right now, there is such polarization that it's just so sad. Things are confrontational, down to the question of to wear a mask or not wear a mask during this COVID pandemic. Will we have the self-discipline to continue the precautions that are necessary to keep everyone safe? Personal freedom versus what is for the common good. So let's not confuse courage with recklessness. The challenge, as I see it, is to come up with solutions that we can agree upon respectfully. And clearly then, not everyone is going to get 100% of what they want, but perhaps we can come to some compromises so that most needs are met. So our current situation in chaos is just another step towards a better way of living. And I'm thinking of the butterfly. What a wonderful example of chaos. The chrysalis, a hard shell, in which such transformation occurs as it disintegrates into a liquid and reassembles itself into the most gorgeous creation that then emerges from the chrysalis and can actually fly. So as tensions run high, we're seeing more and more conflict emerge. Even right here in Eugene, there was a demonstration Friday night, and who knows how much more will come. And other issues come into the mix. It's not just about the pandemic anymore. We need good data to make informed decisions, not speculation that will drive our fears. I like this phrase from the Bible, "They who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles, and they shall run and not be weary." The sun's energy comes through us and through the trees and produces fruit. That fruit energizes us, and that energy changes then. It all started out from the sun, and now it's in each of us. It's that divine energy that moves through us and expresses through us. And that spiritual energy gives us enthusiasm, fire in the belly, so we can change our perception, be in joyful service to one another, and pursue our goals with passion. I'm reminded of Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen, who was born in 1938, and as far as I know, she's still alive. At age 14, she was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, a very disabling condition of the intestines. The prognosis was grim, and she was told that she probably would not live beyond age 40. Well, she came from a long line of physicians, so she took their word for it and didn't want to start any projects that she would not be able to finish, like getting married and having a family. She underwent several surgeries, and then she came to realize that she didn't have to accept other people's diagnosis. That is just one possible outcome. There are other possibilities, and she made other choices. And so can we. We don't have to accept all the prognoses that we hear and the speculations. We can get good data, and based on that, make our decisions that will help us move forward and make a difference in our lives and in the lives of our loved ones. That's where faith comes in. The stronger the faith, the better off we'll be. And faith lives here. It's something that is beyond our thinking and our belief system. Faith will carry us through when the going gets rough. And when we have strong faith, then we have hope that will see us through, that will help us look towards a brighter future. Unity teachings really help us with that too. With God, all things are possible. I also like what our Muslim friends say. Trust in Allah and tie up your camel. It's a two-part process. It calls for working together in teamwork with our divine source. Our divine source will meet us more than halfway if we but align with that source, if we but connect with that inner indwelling Christ that energizes us. God has no hands, no feet, no voice but ours. So let us put hands and feet to our prayers and give God voice, expressing what we know to be truth, divine truth. So in closing, I want to challenge you to make your life mean a lot, make a difference, and help us move from chaos to order. The important thing is to get started. We can choose a new perception of life that lets us reevaluate our goals. And then when we come from the heart, even the smallest act becomes one of service. Emerson said, "The only true gift is a portion of yourself." So find meaningful ways that bring you joy and satisfaction to give of yourself. Beginning this moment, we can pledge to do one act of greatness each day. That is any task or behavior or deed performed in a loving way for a good purpose. We can practice greatness through service, through praise, through acknowledgement. An act of greatness today, tomorrow, and the next day, and soon we will discover that the magnificent life we once believed elusive is the very one we are leading today. So let's take those steps to turn chaos into order so we can ride the waves of history. Thank you.
As our screen rises. Amen. Shalom. So I want to thank Inga for sharing her thoughts on riding these waves that we're going through right now. And mine aren't very different at all. I think I'm just going to encapsulate the same or similar ideas around two basic points. And when I think of riding the waves, I go back to those times in my life when I experienced seasickness. And these were usually on occasions of high adventure, and then suddenly the high adventure came crashing down into that deep, deep discomfort of feeling so thrown off balance. And two basic principles when you are about to go get seasick or you are seasick is the idea of gazing at that horizon, gazing at that place of stillness that is beyond the motion of the waves, and centering yourself there. And of course, the other one is Dramamine. So I just want to take a few minutes to talk about spiritual ways to find that still, peaceful horizon in the midst of all these waves, and then spiritual Dramamine, whatever that is. Yeah, those times that I was most hit by seasickness, they occurred when I was on a great adventure with a college friend. We left our college studies here at the University of Oregon in our second year, and we went and worked in Holland for 2.5 months, and then we took our savings, which we had accumulated at working less than minimum wage in Holland, from packaging flower bulbs, and we took off to travel Europe and also went to Egypt. And crossing the English Channel was a little bit of an occasion of seasickness, but when it really hit me was when we were crossing over to Greece, or maybe it was the Greek isle of Brindisi. Or I'm getting a little confused, and maybe Brindisi is the place we took off from. That was a number of decades ago, so it's a little bit of a blur, but I do clearly remember how seasick I was, and people telling me about that horizon trick. Of course, the problem was it was at night. And I think in our spiritual condition right now, our spiritual situation in this world, it's so hard at times to find that horizon, that calm center in the storm. And so I acknowledge the difficulty that we have as spiritual teachers, as anybody who is trying to find a path of peace at this time. And people sometimes will criticize Unity and other churches because we seem to rest on platitudes instead of dynamic action of social change. And partly that's because of the very nature of what we are as a teaching institution. We are here to share universal principles and ask people to explore how they can apply them in their own lives, in their own unique situations. And it's sometimes difficult to translate that when we have such serious social issues to confront. I personally want to see us move towards a more enlightened society where we know that our police officers need to be deeply grounded in a sense of community connection and definitely not projecting any kind of prejudice and social and economic awareness to understand the different pressures and the ways that people have grown up and may be easily triggered to go into violence. And I don't excuse the violence that we see, but at the same time, I have to ask myself, what is behind it? What is behind it? And so that brings me to one spiritual approach to finding the horizon in the darkness. And that is that as we look at this world and all that's going through, and even though all we may see are the crashing waves, in our quiet times of contemplation, we can ask ourselves, what is beyond what's before my eyes? What is behind these actions that people are taking? It's so easy to jump to judgment, to judge the police officers, to judge those who are rioting and looting. And yet we can help ourselves be more receptive to inner peace and compassion and being centered in the midst of the storm if we keep asking, what are the underlying factors that brought people to this? And oftentimes we have to say, I have no idea what that person went through in order to reach that place in their lives where they are behaving like this. And that's a humbling thing, isn't it? But it helps us to not reflexively jump to judgment. We ask ourselves, what could be behind this? And then as we keep contemplating, in unity we teach that behind it all is spirit. And that in itself is a very important way to ground ourselves when we are seeing a world so seasick, so caught up in being out of balance and not thinking clearly. And so let's just take a moment to envision ourselves as we have to decide for ourselves what we can bring to the situation. Can we also always remember to keep asking what's behind the surface appearance? There is a phrase in the New Testament, Jesus, to paraphrase him, talked to us about being in the world but not of it. In other words, don't be so caught up in the appearance that we forget that there is a calm and peaceful horizon that is always there underneath the surface. I think of the great key to finding the right path forward as an individual is to take the time to get our inner eye centered on that awareness as a foundation for ourselves to take the next step, so that we are not reacting out of anger and emotion and judgment, but we are taking a step on solid ground to bring peace and understanding to the world. And that leads me to the second cure for seasickness. And when I think of the spiritual cure for Dramamine, what popped into my mind this morning was, as I mentioned, to be in the world and not of it. You could say that means to not get caught up in the mean drama of it all. Because there is a level of meanness that can arise in all of us as soon as we jump into judgment, as soon as we stop accepting that there is a spiritual underpinning to every person, then the words that we use, whether we're on Facebook or anywhere, can reflect
us being caught up in the mean drama of it all, instead of us bringing love and light to the situation. So those are two great choices that we can make every day in what we're doing. When I was on that trip with my college buddy, I was very, very new to the idea of spirituality. And so I was not grounded in a deep sense of spirit at the time. I had an inkling, though, and I kept saying to myself, as I went through that journey of traveling through Europe without any kind of advance reservations anywhere, I was just open to the idea that beyond the surface appearance of chaos, every time we would arrive in a city, it would be chaos because we were arriving at the height of tourist season, and there were no rooms in the inn, so to speak. We would stand in line for an hour trying to make a phone call to find a hotel, and over again, it would be, we're all full. And so we were caught up in the waves. But something inside of me at that time kept saying, there is something beyond this. Let's just walk out into the night, trusting that we will find a way, because we are supported, whether we know it or not. And every time we would find that perfect refuge. And so let us, as we embrace this world in our hearts, and we bring to mind people we mentioned earlier, Ellen and June, and those of us in our community who are in great stress at this time, let us affirm that they too, as they walk out into the night without being able to see that calm horizon, with drama, sometimes a very mean drama happening in this world, that the refuge that they are seeking is there beneath the surface and is now unfolding, is now coming forth into full expression. Let us hold that in our hearts and minds now, for this whole world, for each other, for ourselves, that we are more than just riding the waves. We are the waves on the ocean of God, the ocean of Spirit. And with that awareness, we give such thanks, such gratitude. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God. Amen. And now I'd like to invite Inga to lead us in our offering.
So I invite you to take your love offering and prepare it, to bless it. If you are a member of our Simple Giving program, you might have some of these little cards. And if you don't, that's okay, because your gift is arriving to support this spiritual community, and we are so grateful for your gift. Other ways are through our website, hit the donate button, or send us your contribution in the mail, so that when things open up again and we can gather, we are still here and the doors will open. So in the meantime, let us all hold that vision that we will soon be together again. Although this is a wonderful substitute to help us in the meantime, there's nothing quite like being together face to face. So if you remember the blessing, let's say it together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love, and I trust God.
You may not be aware that the music team records the Connections from the Heart. It's a beautiful offering from Laura and the whole music team. We record on Tuesdays, and then it gets put together by Ryan and that recording is usually available each Sunday for the next week. So, or actually, they're all still available, I think. So I would love it if we would love to have you join us in watching those streams, those offerings. So please join Connections of the Heart when you have a chance to go to our unityofthevalley.org website to find those. Thank you for being with us today. We're going to join in and sing our final song today. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth,
The peace that was meant to be with God as creator. Family all are we.
let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth,
And let it begin with me. One light shines through us, one love enfolds us, one power protects us, one presence holds us forever and ever, forever and ever, wherever we are, God is.
And all is well. On the level of spirit, that is the truth when we look beyond the chaos, when we look within. And so it is.
We send our love to Paul, who wasn't feeling well this morning. Love to you, Paul.